Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Abhinav, your Meta Monk in house. And today is a very exciting day for all of us because as we launch the Meta Monks, the first ever conversational series with the key opinion leaders, global influencers, which are working on the metaverse or are already disrupting the way how metaverse can change things. Today we have three prominent leaders. I would rather call it three women leaders with us who will be sharing a lot of insightful information as well as interesting things that they are working on with us. Now, before we jump onto that, I particularly want to highlight few people who have been actively working on this and partners who have been throughout this journey helping us to come where we are right now. I want to thank, first of all, Abhay Venture Partners, the investment firm and advisory firm, which is constantly motivating us to do something big, and we are very thankful for that. A Technos, the digital transformation firm, part of Abhay Ventures and Holdings. Thank you so much for your support. The Virtual Crunch, our media partner, actively giving the information throughout the community to everyone. Thank you so much for the team. And the World Crypto Forum, the authority which has been leading the change how crypto is accepted across the globe. Thank you so much for your support. Finally, the World Crypto Forum is also organizing the Crypto World Conference, which is happening very soon. And we would like to also thank for their association, partnership, and guidance with us. MetaMonks is very interesting and very close to what we do, not just at Almond, but also throughout our journey to where we are right now. Metaverse has been seen as an opportunity for marketers to create engagements. However, today you will learn, and not just today, this entire series is planned to show the potentials and opportunities what the metaverse can bring on the table. And not just on the table, but also on the digital table with us. And that's one of the reasons why we have started thinking of building a conversational series and thought leadership around what metaverse can do to what can offer to the world. Today we will be joined by the leaders who are not just very active in this ecosystem but are also guiding the world how metaverse and its solutions and technologies can be used. So I would like to invite our first panelist. I would rather call it the speaker or mentor or influencer. Can we have Neena Jain Patel joining us on the stage, please? Neena.
Hi,
Good
AJ.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Neena. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Fantastic, fantastic. So for everyone, while I will have Neena talk to us about what they do and all, I will quickly just introduce her. Neena is the co-founder and VP of Metaverse Research at Kabuni, which is on a mission to unlock the design potentials in every child and elevate their life. They are dedicated to provide the safest space in the metaverse for kids which are in age of 8 to 16 to learn, grow, and explore within a classroom environment and at home. So, Neena, thank you so much for joining. I think most of the parents like me who have a 6 to 8 year old daughter and a younger son, we are very, very scary right now. Okay, scary in the sense of excitement because I see that my daughter is playing Roblox day in, day out, and I'm wondering, what Roblox could do. And it's not just me. A big chunk of the entire fraternity of our age is actually thinking if this is something where they should be spending a lot of time on. And on the other side, I meet you where you are actually making metaverse safe for kids. Tell us about what you guys are doing and why do you think this is something that everyone should be on? Neena.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. It's a great introduction. Just a bit of background about myself. So I totally get where all of the parents and caregivers are coming from in terms of excitement and concerns when it comes to the future for our children in terms of the metaverse and other technology that will be integrated into their lives. I'm also a psychotherapist and doctoral researcher investigating the psychological and physiological implications of what it means to be a human in the metaverse, prioritizing our psychological and physiological needs. Because right now, there's no doubt that we are experiencing rapid shifts in how we interact, how we work, how we learn, and also even how we maintain our own health. And technology is influencing all aspects of human behavior. So by the time our children today are the graduates in 2030, the world will be a vastly different place from anything previous generations have experienced. Not only unparalleled innovation and technology, but also employers' demands for new and diverse talents with more well rounded skills, and also students' growing desire today and expectations to operate with autonomy and more choice uh, in their education all demonstrate that our education system needs to better prepare students for the future in a very different way than it is in the past. And so, as the world transitions from a 2D digital world into a 3D virtual world, the metaverse, we have an opportunity to bring joy, awe, and wonder into the classroom, into education, and deliver curriculum and content in ways that we haven't even imagined yet. The innovation available to us with the metaverse and its technology can really bring education to life and in a dynamic and exciting way. Mm-hmm.
I think that's very interesting because a lot of people just always think about metaverse for gaming and all, but as you talk about learning, and I think safe is very important word because a lot of people are asking what is safe, what is not safe. There are also instances where people are, little scary and kind of speculating what is right, what is wrong. What are your thoughts on this? Because that's like a very thin line, and it needs to be guided, it needs to be mentored. I was speaking to a big influencer last week, and they said that there is a big playground, right? In the same playground people make Guinness records, but in the same playground people also fall and probably get wounds on, right? It is up to us how you see that. What are your thoughts on this? Because this is something that I feel is very important for everyone should know.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, right now in the commercial aspects of what's available to us in the metaverse, there is really no safe place for children to integrate and to interact in the metaverse because of the way the technology has been designed. And essentially, as we all know, the harms available to our children in the 2D internet are abundant, and we are constantly worried about our children engaging in situations or in interactions or with people that we don't want them to. We also have concerns about how the technology is potentially manipulating their psychology, consuming their attention, and encouraging negative behaviors. So there is no safe place in the metaverse right now. Enter Kabuni, a solution. I think it's also important to know from a brand perspective, from a business that even doesn't incorporate children, but the introduction of new regulations, case in point, the UK Online Safety Bill, and even the EU's Better Internet for Kids, and there's probably something similar in India, are taking vital steps towards regulating how children can engage in digital interactions and online and into the metaverse as well. And this is really going to cause disruption and significantly impact how brands interact with children online and into the metaverse, because there is an expectation and the accountability will be put on brands and technology platforms to ensure the long-term psychological safety and well-being of our children. And so Kabuni is a dedicated platform that prioritizes the needs of the child and the student, the learner, and innovating specifically in the classroom to elevate educational content to bring their experience to life. And this is based in the metaverse. Post-pandemic is abundantly clear that technology is not being served to its potential for our children and educators. And there's so much more that we can do to bring education into the 21st century.
And I think we all would agree that education is one area which has massive potential to be disrupted when we talk about the technologies, which is providing 3D experiences and learning experience. And of course, when we talk about metaverse, a lot of people still feel, just VR headset is the way. But I also want to highlight that VR is just one of the ways. There are people experiencing metaverse on mobiles, through AR, through VR gadgets, and of course desktop that we all have been learning throughout our life. So tell us more about Kabini. So Kabuni is a VR first or just a desktop, mobile, web, and how anyone can access that?
Yeah, so Kabuni is a complete solution from hardware, software, and content. And in the future, we envision that our educators will become content creators within the metaverse as well. So it really will become a resource to develop and continue innovating in the educational space. So we have an ecosystem that includes hardware, which is a VR headset, and also integrated into mobile and also into TV, smart televisions as well, so that
Wow.
parents and educators can engage in the metaverse without being bound to the current hardware, the VR headset. But children can be fully immersed and fully present, fully embodied in the experience, and really bring the education to life. We are built on a Web3 platform, so blockchain enabled, with a Kabuni coin, so a learn to earn model to motivate children to learn in the metaverse. And then all the kind of aspects of Web3, bringing that to life on a blockchain enabled ecosystem.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I think it's great that you mentioned about blockchain, because a lot of people still get confused between blockchain and crypto. While blockchain is the building block of this, but it doesn't mean that everything has to be crypto, right? Because
Exactly.
that's the big thing.
Yes.
And yeah, sorry,
Yes.
you were saying.
Yeah, so our Kabuni coin, it really is a tokenization model within the metaverse that children can exchange for new experiences, expand their experiences. But the blockchain has so much more possibilities in the context of implications or integration into education. We can imagine, a report card on the blockchain, so that the child's academic journey follows them through life on a smart contract. There's so much more potential than just a meta currency when it comes to blockchain.
And so I know that while you are one of the VPs and metaverse researcher for this, a lot of people also think that the meta currency is not what actually will replace the thing. If you have to
Mm.
just answer in probably one para or something, do you see that meta currency will actually take off the way how we see right now, or what would be the future of something like this? Because in the end, any country's biggest power is their currency, right? That's the thing that they run on. If you're taking the currency back from the country
Mm.
to our own private economy, don't you think that that's like contradictory?
Well, our philosophy is that it's an enabler of a metaverse, and ours is specifically an education metaverse for children. And so it creates a system in which the ecosystem can be built. In terms of how it will really come to life is how it impacts humans experience, and how it elevates their lives, bridging the gap from the virtual to the physical, and making those connections between the physical and the virtual world are going to be key to any kind of success of a platform. And our key to the success of our platform isn't actually the meta currency, although that's an enabler and empowers it. It's actually the research and evidence and our scientific approach to integrating the technology into the classroom to elevate the child's educational experience. So that's what it's about. It's about improving the child's life, and by extension, their futures, their families, their communities, and that may see some sort of socioeconomic improvements based on a meta currency model in the future. But really, right now, it's about that child, that learner who has opportunity to access the technology and use it to elevate their own life experience today and into the future. And
No,
that'll
I
be
think that
the best of any platform, is how does the human being use it to improve their lives and their communities around them.
I think that makes total sense. I was reading an article, actually, it was a report, yesterday, and they said that there is a company in South Africa, or, those areas where internet access is not yet great there. And people did not have the opportunity to learn from biggest of the biggest educators or institutes across the globe. Digitization just made it enable for them to earn a degree from Harvard or from any other Stanford or Leeds, for that namesake. And now with the metaverse, they see even a bigger opportunity. It was only a degree or probably education, but now they could actually experience the same thing that they would actually get when they go to that institute or probably meet those people. And I
Yes.
think learning is something which is, I would say, if I have to give a credit of, where the metaverse and why the metaverse started, of course, gaming was one of them, but learning is what metaverse, or I would probably say learning will take the metaverse to next level. Do
Yes, I
you?
absolutely agree, and certainly, the UN Sustainable Goal 4 is about access to quality education, and we're working towards that. We have a foundation based in Africa to provide access to our technology to people who otherwise may not be able to. Perhaps because we're focused more in the UK and Europe, but we are working very much aligned with the UN to make it more accessible and equitable to access the technology. We're also partnered with the World Economic Forum to build out the metaverse and define what safety looks like in the
Great.
metaverse. So, on a global initiative and a global level, there is so much possibility and opportunity in the metaverse.
Fantastic. I would love to invite you to collaborate with Government of India as well if there is an opportunity. And also, we work very closely with various what you call public service units in the country, as well as various foundations which
Yes,
primarily work towards the empowerment of kids and of course the safety practices around the kids. And what you guys are doing, fantastic. And as I mentioned, that metaverse is beyond marketing. However, it's the early, the guinea pig, as we say, the low hanging fruit, because people can run small experiments. However, a big wave is coming where people are actually realizing that adding value through the metaverse is bigger opportunity than just adding a marketing campaign which just goes for a month or so and then goes away. And I think Kabuni, if I understand more specifically, because in the earliest days of kids learning, if they can experience the same thing in the 3D and metaverse, which they would actually eventually use in future, I think that's the true metamorphosis. And
yes.
so that's all from my side, Nina. Thank you so much for joining. Any parting thought that you would like to share, and we'll invite you back on the panel very quickly after this. But any specific thing that you would like to highlight, and particularly as this session is being planned, as a lot of investors will be getting this video, if anything specifically you want to share with the investors, like why they should be very serious about what you guys are doing, over to you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The educational market is massive. It's approximately a $7.3 trillion industry, and set to reach that in 2025. There's so much opportunity, and there's a large gap in the digital model of within the context of education. There's a huge opportunity for that market to grow, and Kabuni is at the forefront of that in terms of a defined, safe metaverse for children to learn. And we are the world's only. We're defining this category and prioritizing the child in this next evolution of the internet. So there's not only potential for economic growth, but there is a massive social impact tied to this as well. And I would invite all of us, to get involved in any way in terms of shaping the future of the metaverse for the better for all of us. Because at this point, we really are planting the seeds, and collectively, we need to make choices together that steer this in a direction that will benefit our children and future generations. Because let's be clear, AJ, it does have the potential to do harm and damage if we make the same mistakes we made with the internet that we did in
Yeah.
1995. So we have a choice and an opportunity to learn from our mistakes and develop this in a really powerful way to elevate future generations.
Fantastic. I think I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I think this is an opportunity to change the way how this will change the world in future. And with that, Nina, thank you so much for joining. And I look forward to connect you again soon, shortly after, a couple of discussions with the other influencers that we have today.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for having
taking the
me. Great to
time.
talk with you.
Great, great, fantastic. So that was Neena Jain Patel, the VP in Metaverse Research at Kabuni, making the metaverse safe for kids. What a beautiful, platform that they're building. And I think the start of this session couldn't have been more excited, because kids is where how people thought that metaverse would belong to, but now we see massive opportunities. And as we talk about moving towards the future, I am thrilled to talk about Rachel. And of course, she will be joining us in a moment. But when I spoke to her first, probably a couple of days or probably a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn, I was impressed with the way how Rachel has been connecting the dots of physical to digital and now to metaverse experiences. And as we thought about the people who should be part of this forum today, especially on the launch day, Rachel was one of them. So, with that, Rachel, we would like to invite you to join us on the stage. Can we have Rachel with us, please? There you go. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, AJ. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining. And I know that it's been on a short notice, but you were able to take time out. Thank you so much. So, for everyone, to just quickly introduce Rachel, Rachel is a passionate Web 3.0 physical person, I would say, phygital, person. And she has been into the applications where she was connecting the dots between luxury fashions, retail e-commerce sectors with digital to phygital. She has been working in luxury retail and e-commerce for last more than 15 plus years, implementing leading campaigns across Burberry, Tiffany and Company, and many more global brands. She also actively support women in tech. Whoa, we have three women who are joining us today. And she's currently working on quite exciting creative projects in the metaverse, NFTs, AR, and VR space. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining. And I know that you have a lot more that you can share with us. But how about if we start? Can you give us some more insights about the quick summary that I've given? But if you can tell us what exactly are you working on, because it sounds exciting to me.
It is very exciting. It's an extremely exciting time for the industry. Fashion has just adopted this new digital technology, and it's opened so many doors for many, many brands, some which I'm very excited to be helping enter into the metaverse. So I can't give too many details away because a lot of the projects are still in development, but they're ranging from fashion brands, e-commerce brands, artists, basically anyone who has a digital presence or a physical presence is now entering into the metaverse to combine the two into one seamless experience. So even if you go to a website or if you go into a store, there's a blend of those two experiences in one. So you'll be able to access digital information in a physical location, and then you'll also be able to see very near physical models or very near physical experiences in a digital way online. So it opens up a lot of things that we've had in the past where you couldn't physically get to a location or you couldn't tell a story to a consumer about a product. Now you can do that in a way that's immersive and engaging and really creative. So it's a very, very exciting space to be in.
I think, fashion is, so I talked about gaming, we talked about kids, and fashion is the leading thought here because a lot of people, and there is a data that I think one of the consulting company posted out there saying that 70% of purchase, okay, of apparels were primarily, done for taking the selfies, right? And of course we all know, so we wear a cloth, we take a good photo, and then the next time the same cloth will not go on social media or online when we are wearing it, right? Because it's the craze. People also see, okay, who's wearing what and what's the trend out there with metaverse. And there is a company that I was part of, a forum where I was one of the experts there, and there was a company which actually pitched about creating digital fashion spree. And they said that if I can give you the similar experience of taking a selfie in a metaverse without wearing or buying those clothes that you'll have to buy, probably paying hundreds of dollars or pounds, how about saving a lot of that money just for clicking a photo? So my question to you is, what's fabulous about fashion in the metaverse and why people are crazy about it?
So many things. So fashion as nature is exciting and creative and breaking so many rules. That's what it's always done for a lot of people. In the metaverse, we can throw away the rule book because the physiological aspects that we've had to deal with don't exist. So you can create wonderful things without the boundaries of physical world, and they can be quick, efficient, a lot more creative than what we've had before. We're seeing a lot more supply chain integration of digital models, of digital fashion, speeding up the process of physical production. So when you look at fashion shows in the metaverse, they've taken a short amount of time to produce because you're not having to do all the physical sampling of those products. But you can also have a lot more detail in there. You're not defined by gravity. You're not defined by lighting. You can control so many more aspects of the apparel that you wouldn't be able to do in the physical world. So for a lot of brands, it's super exciting because what the creatives can see and design is now just opened up the door to so much more. So a lot of fashion brands are going to be doing some very, very exciting things in the future.
I think it makes total sense. Number one, that brands now found a way to give the similar experiences of wearing clothes, but not actually giving away the clothes or asking you to come to a place and then probably try it on. Second, also for the end user, it's extremely convenient for me to actually, and especially considering that not everyone has the what you call the ideal body shape. Some people have a big bellies like me, and they still want to try and see how it looks with the metaverse and applications of the metaverse technologies, whether it's AR, VR, or even using the mobile shapes and all of that. It gives a perfect opportunity for brands to make sure that their consumers are happy even before they purchase it, or even before they try it on. Because I also know so there are a couple of brands I don't like it because they have the slim body shape of clothes, but there are also little brands that I'm always happy because they just say it's XL, but the size is like 5XL, right? And all of these things are very important when it comes to a purchase decision, right? You have been into this industry for last many years. Tell us about what has changed in terms of the perception about these things, and how do you think that metaverse would actually change in the future?
Very good question. So, like you said, a lot of people now want to see the products on them without having to physically try them on. You can do that in the metaverse because there's
Yeah.
filters. You can try things on digitally. You can also see products in 3D without actually having to have them physically made in front of you. And the integration of avatars, having your digital twin in the metaverse, you can see your avatar wearing the clothes that you're interested in or wearing the accessories that you want to see would fit your physical self really easily. So there's a lot of development going on behind the scenes for people to be able to create their physical environment in the digital world, to see how these items would look, decide whether it's right for them, try on multiple different things in a matter of seconds, and experience a lot of new brands and a lot of new ways of wearing clothing, and then make the considered purchase of, do I want this in the physical world as well? And I think as we go forward in the future, these changes have been slowly happening, but as we look to what's going to be next, it's going to be doing that more considered approaching in what you consume and what you buy, looking at more digital alternatives because they're becoming a lot more readily available, and the fact that the culture of the consumer is now more digitally native. They're used to selfies, they're used to trying on makeup with AR filters, so it's only going to naturally progress even further, and it's going to become the norm. There will no longer be sampling in stores, it'll be digital sampling. So it's going to change a lot of the fundamentals that we've been used to for the past decade, but it's the future and it's the way forward.
No, I think I couldn't agree more. You talked about digital sampling in India with one of the pet food company. Actually, they're one of the exclusive premium pet food companies. We ran a digital sampling activities for them. They used to put people in front of the vet shops and all of clinics and all, and the product cost was about $300 or something like this. And each sample, not $300, 300 rupees INRs, or about $4 to $5 or something like that. And the entire sampling, from promotion of the product, to put a promoter out there who will talk about the product, and then they will find a lead who will also take the product, give them the data. And this entire activity used to cost them about 3 times of the product cost. COVID hit, and then they were looking for solutions. On Almond Vertex, we created a platform on which they could promote this platform through various social media platforms, and then person would come, they will see the complete product experience, the all the details and ingredients about the product, and they could ask for a free sample there itself. And we integrated Almond Vertex, which is our virtual experiences platform, to the warehousing and logistics arm of this company. So immediately when the product sample was ordered, within next 72 hours, the product was also delivered to the sample requester. And the beauty of this entire ecosystem was that entire activity ran up to 3 days faster, because what has happened is it used to take many days in terms of getting the data, collecting the data, and then calling them, reaching out, confirming the, whether they have received the product or not. But this entire thing saved a lot of amount of time for them. Of course, the cost was saved, and first time the brand has the fully reliable data that they can actually rely on. And not just that, they can interact with the sample requester to say, okay, did your pet like the product, or do you want to order it again? Hey, by the way, I can give you 20% discount coupon that you could use. So digitizing these activities, and I'm very excited to talk about that, because you have spent a lot of time in physical as well before actually working on the phygital and now to the metaverse experiences. I'm sure that there is a journey that these brands are now seeing. The physical is not the, or offline is not the only way. Metaverse may not be the completely fully functional opportunity, and then phygital is the future, and we call it hybrid. And it's an extension, because what we have also seen, Rachel, and that's more related to my question to you actually, is we have also seen that a lot of people think metaverse may replace a lot of things that were done physically very well. And on the contrary, I believe that metaverse is not a replacement, it is an extension to your offline or physical experiences. In your journey, in your experience, what do you think that brands would think of, and where do you think that opportunities would come in the future?
Good question. It will never replace the physical, and there is still a need for the physical. What it will do is complement the physical. So the
Yes.
digital will enhance the experience that we would get with the physical objects or physical clothing or physical jewelry. It will be able to, it will allow us to communicate more to the consumer. It will allow us to layer on different information so that they can really understand what it is they're purchasing and have a more detailed view around it. So it's not we're not replacing one for the other. Like you said, it will be phygital. Stores will have digital parts within them, and the same with online. You will have a digital experience, but it will be very, very linked to the physical, because you will need both, and consumers will want both. There's still a need for stores, there's still a need for bricks and mortar, there's still a need for physical shopping, but digital shopping and digital worlds and digital transactions are what we're now moving into. So it's just blending the two to make sure that the future is something that everyone can enjoy, and we don't lose some of the core kind of physical aspects that we've all enjoyed for the past.
Great. And what do you think about, how brands are accepting cryptocurrency and all of those things? Because that's also a very important piece. I was talking to Nina a few minutes ago where I said that, the most important asset of a country is their currency. And on the other side, we are talking about replacing the currency with something which might complement. But do you think that, and this is slightly different from the metaverse and AR experiences, I would like to hear your thoughts on how do you see that happening, if at all you see that, yes, this will happen? Over to you,
It will
Rachel.
100% happen. Last week I was in
You were
London.
saying it will 100% happen. Okay, great.
In Bond Street last week, I was at a designer store, and everything was in cryptocurrency. You could pay for any item in cryptocurrency. They had a museum of NFTs and physical product next to each other. So you could see the digital version of the shoes next to the physical, and you could buy both. It was extremely convenient. I could walk in. I didn't have to hand over any physical money. I could just do digital currency that I have in my digital wallet. And if you look at the generations, I have a 7-year-old daughter. Physical currency to her is useless. It doesn't mean anything. If I tell her I'm going to pay in Robux to her, it's everything to her. Our tooth fairy at the moment will pay her in Robux and cryptocurrency because she believes that's more valuable than physical money. And even over physical toys, she would rather have more digital games and more digital currency. So I think if we look at our children and the way they're developing and what they're looking for the future, when she's 17, 20, it will just be normal for her to pay in cryptocurrency for things.
Wow, that's fascinating, because countries like India, our crypto bill is yet to come, and the government is not pretty clear on their note towards crypto, yes or no. Of course, they have announced that we will have our own currency, which will be in form of blockchain powered currency, if I would say. And it's very important that countries, and I know that many Western countries have already started accepting crypto as a currency. And of course, there are pro and cons both. But I think that when you say 100% future, I am very happy to hear that, because I do believe that when you give power to the hands of people, and it's not just few people, it's a decentralized ecosystem where everyone will have a vote to play. I think it's absolutely not so far. Soon we will have something interesting that coming up. Okay, so the last thing, Rachel, I have for you is there any interesting project that you're working on and you want to talk about without taking the names of brands or something? I think we would love to hear about it, and especially from the experience that you are coming from physical to phygital to metaverse. Anything?
And I'm working with a few female founders at the moment on their um, transition from physical stores and e-commerce stores into the metaverse. So working on virtual stores for them, working on virtual products for them, and helping them kind of translate the new ecosystem of how it's going to work. So I think what I'd like to say to investors out there is listen to the female businesses out there that are pitching for investment or are looking for new ways to do things. They're a lot of the time overlooked, but they're some of the most creative, hardworking, interesting people out there, and their businesses will flourish if you give them time. So I would definitely say if you hear of a female business entering the metaverse, give them credit, listen to them, because they will be the future.
Wow, such a fantastic thought, Caroline. Thank you. Sorry, Rachel, thank you so much for your thoughts. And I know that Caroline's name is coming because she is here now. So, Rachel, once again, I think very interesting thoughts. I love the passion that you bring on table, and all the best for your future projects. And I'm sure that we will connect the dots very soon. I would also like to highlight, in India also there are many opportunities in terms of helping brands understand the technology and take it to the digital and metaverse. And let's connect offline to discuss the synergies. We work with various exclusive brands in the country, primarily in the luxury as well as fashion space, and we would love to see how we can synergize these things together. So thank you so much for joining, Rachel, and I look forward to see you soon again on the panel. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
joining.
AJ. Thank you very much.
Great, great. So that was Rachel Silk. Super interesting discussions which is happening regarding how physical can go into the digital and then combining and creating phygital and now to the meta. And that's exactly what we said the metamorphosis looks like. Now, in the next section, we have something which is very unusual going to happen. Who thought that metaverse could also help you plan your future? And just to give you a surprise, we have a very interesting platform and its representative, Caroline, who will join us in a moment. And before I introduce Caroline, I just want to tell you, are you planning to get married? Are you planning to have a kid? Are you planning to buy a car? How would you make sure that when you are getting ready for this journey, you have everything what you need? Will you hire a financial planner? Well, I would not, because I have a platform that I can use for it. So let's welcome Caroline on the stage. Caroline, are you there? There you go. You are on mute, so you might want to unmute yourself and then.
Thank you. Now I'm good. I am
Awesome.
live.
You're
Hi,
live.
AJ. What a great intro. I'm going to have you do all of my pitches in future
There you
because that
go.
was a
There you go.
fantastic elevator pitch for Lifetime. Thanks
And
so much for
I
having
will
me.
charge for the pitches, okay? As long as I get probably 10% of your equity, I'm good for it.
In digital currency for sure.
There you go. So for everyone, Caroline Hughes is the co-founder and CEO of Lifeties, an award-winning consumer fintech company. Trust me, quote unquote, fintech in metaverse is happening already here. And the company Lifeties helps you plan how to afford major life events like buying a home or having children. Now they are building the world's first fintech metaverse. Wow, Caroline, I did not know about it. Funded by Near Foundation, aim to help consumers understand how to finance their lives using TradFi, DeFi, and NFTs. A lot of high fives here, Caroline. So, welcome to the show. And as I mentioned, the intent behind this entire ecosystem of MetaMonks that we are creating is to not just educate people, but also showcase the wonderful work which is happening in the Meta community, which is, of course, you guys are funded and you have been doing fantastic on your side. But on this side, we would also like to highlight the hard work that you guys are putting. So thank you so much for joining, Caroline. And why don't you quickly tell us about what you guys are doing, and we will talk more about it then.
Fantastic. Well, first I want to say what incredible guests you found for this first session. I mean, what a way to kick off this series. Like, I've been listening. I've learned so much already from these other projects. Absolutely fantastic. Great guests. So I'll give a little bit of background, and really where it comes from is if we think about how we're going to be spending our time. So the fact that humankind seems to be moving into this hybrid existence, both physical and virtual. And if we think about all of the different activities that we're going to be doing across these two things, and we've got everything from working, so how quickly do we think we're going to see the WeWork of the metaverse for virtual co-working, for example? We've obviously got entertainment, whether that's attending virtual events with people across the globe, spending time virtually with your favorite celebrities. You have the metaverse e-commerce with all of the opportunities that Rachel just described. We've got travel. We're going to be traveling through the metaverse to visit the Grand Canyon, the Taj Mahal, and many new digital wonders of the world. And then we have opportunities around real estate. And I've been giving a lot of talks recently about the opportunities for buying real estate in the metaverse. And then when we kind of put all of this together, we realize that we're going to need the ability for people to understand their financial lives in this new hybrid existence, and the ability to pay for both physical and virtual products and services, and to seamlessly make payments between the two. And really, that's kind of where LifeTies comes in. So we started out in Web 2, very much in the traditional finance world, so helping people with exactly the life events that you described. We talk about helping people with every life decision, from leaving school all the way through to the time that you retire. So effectively, it's like the game of life. You show us what you want to achieve, and we show you how to finance that. And yeah, in the traditional world, that was taking out mortgages and loans and credit cards, and all of that still exists. But of course, now we have this parallel financial system. We've got decentralized finance, we've got NFTs, we have cryptocurrencies. And what we need is an ability to translate all of this incredible new stuff to mass market consumers. And that's really where our platform comes in.
No, I think that's very interesting because, as I mentioned, and one of the reasons behind putting up this entire series was that a lot of people, and a big chunk of, not just a lot of, most of the people think that it's just engagement that Metaverse drive. I've had Nina who talked about how this can change the way how kids learn in the future. Rachel is talking about how fashion is becoming fabulous in the metaverse. And now we have you who's also advising and guiding us. And I'm sure that a lot of people feel very excited about it, that they can actually plan their life in the metaverse, right? And it creates lots of opportunities for people to work, play, shop, and learn. But tell me, how will we pay for things in the metaverse? I mean, are you creating an ecosystem, coins, or what's happening?
Yeah, so I mean, exactly that. So right now, let's be honest, when we think about the metaverse, when we think about cryptocurrency, it's a bit clunky, right? So
Yeah.
you're going to need that ability to be able to pay for things in the metaverse, and you're going to need that ability to move from fiat currency to digital currency and back again very, very easily. And what we've seen is there's been a lot of infrastructure built. So we kind of have the payment rails that exist to do it. And what's great about them is they're global. They're not subject to the same gatekeepers that we have, whether that's in, you are tied to a particular country that you live in, or you need to have a particular credit score to be able to access certain things. So from a consumer perspective, it's much more accessible, it's instantaneous, and it's transparent, which is all great. But from a user experience, as things stand right now, it's not great, right? Because everything that has been built kind of infrastructure level up. And it was the right way to do it. We need to have the rails, we need to have the pipes so that the transactions can be made. But now we're in kind of like the second wave, where we're starting to see better apps and better user experiences being built so that more mass market consumers, so those who don't already have a great technical knowledge, they don't have a PhD in computer science, but they're still able to access all of these things in a very easy way. Because right now, if you say to somebody, right, you need to connect a wallet to buy an NFT, to be able to go and see your favorite cricket team play in the metaverse, that blocks a lot of people from being able to actually do the thing. Yeah. And so what we're seeing now is a lot of great companies and a lot of great projects that are really working to solve that bit. How do we make blockchain and the metaverse accessible to the next billion people across the globe?
Wow, very interesting. And is that the reason behind fintech in the metaverse, or what will it do for the consumers?
Yeah, so we call Lifetize the world's first fintech metaverse. So we were a fintech company, but we have always had metaverse ambitions. We were always talking about having a virtual life simulator where you create the life that you want on our platform, and then we show you how to finance it in real life. So again, it's about taking that mix of what can we use digitally and virtually to help you play out different life scenarios, figure out what works for you, but then translate that back into the real world so that you actually achieve the goals in real life. And this was why I was so excited to come on this panel, because you've pulled together guests who are really kind of at the forefront of how do we mold those two things, the virtual and the real world, and how to create metaverses with a purpose. So it's not just for marketing, it's not just pure entertainment, but it's things that actually help people improve their real lives. And yes, what I would love to do is to show you a little bit of a demo of how Lifetize works. Very visual product, so it always works best if I give a little demonstration.
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Fab. Let's see if this works. Okay. Here we go.
I think this is going to be exciting. A live demo of a metaverse. There you go. Yay!
Here we go. Okay, we are live. Okay, fantastic. So as I said, like Lifetize it's a fintech metaverse, so it's a life simulator. We're creating the most exciting and useful consumer finance in the world, where we make it easy for consumers to access the right savings, investments, borrowing products, and protocols to get the things that they want in life. And this is how it works. So we believe that in the future, everyone's going to be financing their lives with a mix of those traditional financial products that we all know and decentralized finance, including cryptocurrency tokens and NFTs. So you might pay for a sofa with a credit card, or equally, you might pay for a sofa in the metaverse using a digital currency. You may have your avatar that you buy in the metaverse via OpenSea, and you may choose to pay for that in fiat, or you may choose to pay for that in a digital currency that you have. So it's all about helping people understand how they can pay for physical and digital with both fiat and digital currency.
Fantastic.
And this is what it looks like. So you can plan all your life decisions. As I said, every life event from leaving school through to retirement. And you pick your goals.
Wow.
And our algorithms show you how to afford every life decision that you want to make. So you might be picking a goal like buying an apartment, and we're going to show you exactly how you can afford it based on your financial position. So we calculate the affordability for you. You don't need to worry about that. And then we have these great visualizations to help make it real for you. So the one on screen is the best locations to buy your apartment in the UK, helping you visualize success. Again, it's all about that motivation for consumers. How do we make it real for them? And then we show your finances as money Tetris. So we show you a future forecast of all of your finances in a way that makes it really, really easy for you to understand and action. And then as you create more and more life goals, we show you a living, breathing visualization. And we're building this incredible partner ecosystem. So it's all about how do we connect the right partners for you at the right time, depending on the things that you're trying to buy, whether that's in the physical world, a holiday, a car, all those things you talked about, whether it's things in the digital world, or whether you need financial products in the traditional world, or in the decentralized finance world.
Wow. This is fantastic. We have a live product demo on the platform. And I think this is quite interesting in terms of, I had, while you were sharing the live goals, I actually put some goals in my mind that, okay, where's my goal on this bucket list and how do I plan for this? So it's quite interesting. I think, I must congratulate you and Lifetime's team on making this happen, and it seems like a massive opportunity. I mean, why do you think that the investment community or VCs and institutions should be caring about this?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? It's, we currently have, in the financial services space, it probably is the biggest opportunity that we have right now. Where DeFi exists, because we do have this parallel financial system that has arisen and is just starting to kind of hit that early maturity. So if we think about it, there are currently over 100 million blockchain wallets. But as we've said, this is primarily early adopters. So the massive opportunity is to bring the mass market into Web3 and then connect into their daily lives. So what is it that they're trying to do in their real lives, and how do we make that easy for them? And when we look at our audience, so our audience is in their 20s and 30s predominantly, and that's 2.3 billion people globally. And they're also now the biggest consumer demographic worldwide. Plus, they're set to inherit $70 trillion over the next 2 decades. So all of a sudden, we've got this group of people who are pretty digital natives, but also are now the biggest customer segment for financial services, e-commerce, and entertainment. And that's why the way that we approach it is that we need to build out this ecosystem of partners, because that's how we bring the mass market onto the blockchain and unlock all of these revenue opportunities. And so the way that we do it at Lifetimes is, because we know so much about you, you're modeling every aspect of your life. We know what you're trying to achieve. We know what you can afford. And so we're able to make all of these intelligent product recommendations for our partners. So that might be traditional partners who are looking to kind of come into Web3, into the metaverse. We provide that bridge. And then for digital partners, so, Aave, which is a loan provider in DeFi, and Near Protocol, which is a layer 1 blockchain, we're able to help them attract those mass market consumers that they want. So we believe that the potential is huge, and it's about, for us, it's about how do we make it make sense to the average consumer.
I think that's a very purposeful and amazing explanation. And I think I am losing the words here about the excitement that I have, but I'm sure that all the people who are on the panel right now. So let me invite Rachel on the stream. There she is, and let's have Nina as well joining us here today. Um, Okay, so did someone say about women empowerment? I think I'm the only one among these lovely women, the influencers in the metaverse. And probably now you can start chatting around the things. And I'm just like, okay, let me listen this out. Okay. So I think, Nina, what do you think? Don't you think that was amazing what she just, showcased, and how we are seeing these things? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no doubt that the metaverse is coming and it will change our lives and human behavior and human infrastructure and systems in capacities that many of us don't quite yet understand. I think what was really great about both Caroline and Rachel is presented a really solid case of not only the potential, but where it's already happening. And really, at this point, it's just as Caroline indicated, it's early adopters, and we're going to see, the life cycle really exponentially increase, just as the internet did back in the early 1990s. That's the disruption that's available to us, and there's no doubt that the technology is going to be incorporated into our lives. And I think all of us, what we've presented today, are really positive aspects of how the technology can be used beneficially. And used to enhance our experiences. And I think my final thing is, the key thing is here is in no way are we ever replacing the real world with the metaverse.
Yeah.
And to remain balanced in a holistic life is really important. And it's really about using the technology intentionally and intelligently. And I think what we've shared today really, really highlights that.
No, I think absolutely. And while I'm very excited about the fashion and what life ties can do. I'm also equally excited about, for kids it's going to be a different sort of experience altogether, because that's one thing. And specifically, Nina, what you are working at Kabuni is in the foundational days or years of these kids, if they learn something which will remain with them forever. And I think that's extremely, extremely powerful. The planning depends on this, what they wear depends on this, what they will learn depends on this. What you guys are building is also extremely exciting. So, Rachel, what do you think of Kabuni? I mean, and I'm just going through this because all of you come from so different background, but we all are aiming towards making metaverse, more mesmerizing than what the world thinks about it. Rachel.
100%. I am so impressed with Kabuni and Lifeties. It's something that I can see myself using and my daughter using straight away.
Nice.
Education on the actual metaverse for children, I think it's extremely important because they absorb so much so quickly. I know from my own daughter, she's already designing her own NFTs. She knows all about blockchain. She is so far in the future, she's almost leading me, which at 7-year-old, that's extremely something that I want to kind of encourage and get her to do. But the current educational system is not allowing her to excel in that. So we're having to look at other ways. And she's already asking me, how do I pay bills? I mean, if I could show her Lifetimes and say, this is how you're going to pay your bills in the future, this is how you're going to do things, she would love that. So yeah, I think you two have both got very, very interesting businesses that are very, very useful.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. And Caroline, as we talk about fashion, right? And that's something different because I don't think so anyone will make a life goal of probably buying Louis Vuitton or any of those things. Do you think that something like this will happen? And if that happens, then brands should also plan for it like
Yeah.
that.
100% is going to happen. So I
That's
actually
what happened. Okay.
and it already does, right? It's like they are, aspirational purchases are a huge driver of, luxury, particularly luxury fashion. So I actually worked in the fashion industry for a number of years. So I kind of saw the evolution of fashion when it had to first embrace digital and what that did for it in terms of both the supply chain, but also being able to get customer feedback so much quicker on the types of products and services, and then being able to kind of tap into that influencer culture, which really I think has driven kind of fashion and related advertising over the past kind of 15 years. And now we have the ability to do all of that in 3D, which gives brands that ability to, as you say, create the same feel and experience for consumers that they wish they could get even in regular stores, because so many consumers, you're limited to, is the store in the city or town that you're in? We have people making pilgrimages from all over the world to flagship stores in London. But if you have an ability to visit a flagship store in the metaverse and really feel that experience, that's going to be huge for people. And one of the things that I love about the work that's being done by everybody here is that real utility, really like being so thoughtful and so considered about how is this going to feel for people? How do we make it safe? How do we make it enjoyable? And how do we make it enhance their real lives?
No, absolutely. And the reason why we started Aman stands for activating the last mile on digital, and before I talk about what we do, I just want to tell you, in the mother tongue or the language from which Hindi is derived, it's called Prakrit, which is also the mother tongue for Sanskrit. There is a word called Anekantvad. It's in if I have to translate this into English, it's called multi-perspective, right? And when you add purpose into the perspective, I think that's where metaverse is. So it's multi-perspective. Someone is using it to plan their life. Someone is using it to show you how the fashion could be amazing. And someone is telling how your kids can learn much more better. But all of this is multi-perspective with a purpose, which is very powerful. And I think that's where metaverse, the objectives of influencers like all of you are, is to actually create the purpose around the perspective, or probably perspective around the core purposes. And that's where I see metaverse is going to the next level, and that's exactly what Meta Monks are planned to do. So today I officially announce all three of you the quote unquote Meta Monks, and you will also receive your certificates from our team very shortly. It's no big deal, but the point is that we are thrilled that people like yourself are driving this community, creating the positiveness and very positive vibrations around what Metaverse can bring to your life, not just from the engagement perspective, but actually from the purpose. As I said, purpose with perspective purposes. So thank you so much for joining. But before I don't want to say bye right now, but I know it's very exciting conversations are happening. Any parting thoughts that you would like to add? So I'll probably start with Caroline, you, and then we'll go to Rachel and Nina before we call this off.
Just really to say, thank you to you for bringing us together, because I think with this panel, we really do. We've got the foundational element of making sure that the kids are all right, who are going to really be the ones who inherit the metaverse, from us. We're just the custodians. We're just the ones creating version 1 of it. And then, luxury and fashion has always been at the kind of the bleeding edge of driving the aesthetic, driving the conversation, driving the art. And so, yeah, thank you for bringing it together. And I'm going to absolutely dig into all of the projects that both the panelists are working on. So thanks, AJ.
Great. Thank you so much. Rachel?
I would just say exactly the same. I mean, it's been wonderful speaking with you both and hearing about the psychology behind how we should be having a really safe metaverse for our children, which is something I believe very much in, and seeing how we can plan for the future and make all of those decisions offline and online is also something that's extremely useful. So I will be in touch with you both, because I definitely think there's some things we can work on.
I'd love to work on that with you, Rachel. Thank you so much. Nina?
Yeah, fantastic. An absolute joy to be on this panel with Caroline and Rachel and AJ, yourself, and really driving and continuing the momentum into the Web3, the Metaverse space. And, collectively, we're all going to be shaping the future. And I think that not to underestimate our roles, as you say, as gatekeepers or custodians of the future, and planting those seeds today for, elevating our children's lives in the future. It really is a responsibility that we have to take seriously. And I think women are doing that, and let's invite more people to do it with us.
Thank you. I think that's very exciting. While, I would love to take the credit, but I cannot. I've got Alicia with us. She's the one, as she has been interacting with all of you. Again, I'm looking at it that we have 4 beautiful, females out there, and I'm the one holding the fort strongly here for the men community out there on the other side. And I think it's an amazing session that was planned. So, a big round of applause to our friend Alicia, who has been very actively working with us on this activity altogether, bringing all the dots together. So thank you for your time, Alicia, as well. And thank you for coordinating. And this is just a start, as we already talked about it. There's, more sessions are being planned. Thank you, Rachel, for your, bringing the experience on the table, sharing about the exciting projects that you're working on. Nina, I think, excitingly, I'm sure that, my family and probably some of my, team members from the company as well will be seeing this, and we all have kids. What couldn't be better than this, knowing that, okay, we are working on something creating safe. And Caroline, I'm going to be a customer right away. Okay, I want to plan, and I hope you will give us some discounts in the digital currency some way. So that's about us. Thank you so much for joining. And for those who have just joined, this is Metamorphosis, a very interesting series that we are planning with a purposeful, metaverses experiences that are being driven across the globe, and not just marketing, an opportunity for all of us to learn together and probably guide each of us together. So today we had Caroline Hughes from Life Ties, Rachel Silk, and Nina from Kabuni. So thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to connect with you all soon again on the same show, same day, same time, with some more influencers and global meta leaders. Over to you. Ciao, ciao. Bye, everyone.